Hi everybody, this is Freya from Otherworldly. I've had a bit of a break from doing videos, too much on my plate basically, but I'm waiting to go on a trip actually, a trip that ended up being delayed for a week because of car troubles, and now I've got everything packed and ready, so well, I thought it might be a good time to noodle around with the video, especially since there are two new building kits out from Fanatik that I really feel need a video to show some of the contents. I'm not going to try and tackle actually building any castles, but I'm going to show you some of the bits and pieces that go into this set and also into the breakable doors set. I won't be able to break any doors or gates for you because I don't have any weapons that do damage, but I can show you what they look like and explain a little bit of how they work. So that's basically going to be it for this video. This is mainly, of course, for those of you who might be building your own builds on Sims and have some prims free and can create your own little medieval village fortress similar to that. There are obviously other kits from Fanatik that you can use together with this as well to expand on the building opportunities. So we're going to dig into my, as usual, very full inventory, and we're going to start with the first kit that was out actually, which is the Breakable Gates set. And basically you've got some nice easy setup guidelines here that you use to basically activate these gates. They're a little bit finicky about being rest on a flat area and having nothing intersecting them because they rely on accurate physics and will gravity and damage is what will have them falling, and then you can set them back up and repairing them. So these are very much roleplay oriented if you want to use the breakable part of it, but the instructions are very detailed. Setting that up was not a problem. You've also got some configurations that you can set how much damage and so on that will be taken and how much it can take before it falls. Couple of other notes here. You can have groups of them and you give them names so that you can easily control and then set them back up. They will do damage if they fall on you. You can control the damage that the gate will do to an avatar. So as I said, very much for roleplay, but they are also very nice gates that you can use in a build. So I'm just going to give you a look at a couple of these. For example, here we have gate A in raw wood, and this shows which way it's going to fall, and this is where you do the setup and make sure it doesn't intersect. And you can also resize these, as it says, so you will be able to fit them into various different types of buildings. The one, and then we have B, we will do in red metal. So here you have a nice rusted metal gate. Should obviously be able to withstand more damage when you set it up than just a wooden gate. I don't know if there's fire damage in SL. I haven't really looked into any of those parts of SL roleplay, but that could certainly be a part of the configuration too, I should think. And here you have gate C, which is a nice pointy door, maybe for a church or similar building. And as you can see, there are materials on these, and they look very nice in the lighting. We have D, which we'll do in raw wood. A more sort of straightforward square basic door, resized, could work in a house, anything like that. Very versatile, this type. And finally we'll do E in raw wood, and here's a bit more of a fenced gate, a palisade gate, I would say, rather than a door. Nice and tall, and I know there's stuff in the castle building set that will match this. There are also a couple of walls included that you can then have the gates set into. I don't know, are these untextured, or is it just that my texturing is slow? No, I think these are actually untextured so that you can use them as you wish. Perfectly made for the gates, but obviously if you resize, you will need to resize in a similar way. And here's another one that then fits gates A and B. Then there's various bits and pieces that you need with keys and other pieces that go into the system. The padlock route and the repair box for getting the gates up once they've been broken down. So you can definitely use these without the roleplay features in your building, but if you are in a sim that has combat and that has damaged enabled, then it's of course much more that you can do with these gates. But that's the gate set. Next up, we have the castle builder. The castle builder is a very extensive set, as you can see. Lots and lots of different pieces, which can be a little overwhelming. It does come with a note card to explain all the pieces. It has demo examples. It has some texture examples. For this as well, you need to use a root prim that is included, the one called CB root. And that is so that you will be able to do texture changes on the pieces as you've built them together, because they have not put a script in each item because it would simply be too much. You also get a nice listing here of how many prims there are for each item, and you get a breakdown of the basic shapes. So, for example, here are some of the starting shapes that you can use to put your pieces together. Like you see, these will fit the various doors. And you've got your curves and your plain walls, some towers and blocks to build things up. You also got stairs of lots of different varieties so that you can get up onto your walls and get into your castles. You've got mirrors where it is necessary. And then you have stone details for sprucing things up and making it look properly medieval. So you've got your joints, your corners, your columns, barriers, and various types of capstones. All very neatly laid out. And finally, you also have some wood structures. Like I said, there are more sets at Fanatik for building, and some of those are wood structures. I have not tested whether they can be combined with this, but you do have some nice options here for wood structures that you can combine with the castle building set. I'm not going to try and tackle building anything. That is just going to be way too complicated to easily show off, and I'm not a great builder. It takes me a long time. But what I'm going to do is show you some of the options that they've already built out. For example, you have a ready-made warehouse. And here you can see how it uses some of the wood structures together with some of the metal structures. Now, judging by the set, I think it is mainly intended as the outdoor areas of a castle. External walls, palisades, towers and fortresses and so on, and then you build your other buildings within it, or you have pre-made buildings within it, because there's not really any inner walls or things like that. Here you have a wall that has a built-over roof, so you could have this as the inside of a castle, and then this will give places for people to work on the inside of the castle walls. You could, for example, set up a smithy or similar things that have it covered, so that when it rains, because it invariably rains in the Middle Ages or your fantasy Middle Ages, and it's going to be grey and rainy, and then you want a roof. Let's see what other things we might have. Well, we have a wall with a gate. So here you could set up one of the gates, I should think, and then you have it all set up to here. You have a platform, which you could have somebody standing up there and dropping hot oil on the attackers before having to retreat over the crenellation up here. You've got semi pre-made pieces that could be used as part of a larger building, in that you have this wall corner where you've already got the inner stairs set up so that the defenders can get up onto the outer walls and rain down arrows or what have you on the attackers outside. This does give a very martial feeling overall, and this is meant as defense structures. I can try the curved wall as well and have a look at how that one looks. You see they've put together the curved wall, and they've used the curved edging, and then these crenellation pieces on top of that. And I'm going to dig out as well the HUD. Let me see where that might be. Well, at the top, the Castle Builder HUD. Oh, it also helps if I actually show HUD attachments when I do that. So this is the basic, I guess, and then you can go mossy, and this might not actually be set up. I think these may have been set up without the roof brim. Let me see if there's one that is. Alternatively, if I... Well, I'm going to try the warehouse again and see if that one is set up. No, I don't think so. So basically, yes, you need to set these up and add the root prim to be able to use the texture change. But then you saw the options that you have. You have the plain stone, the mossy stone, and and it is set up. It was just taking a little bit of time. Okay. I'm guessing that the only thing here, though, that actually shows it is the wood on top. Or maybe you can see a little bit of a difference here. I should probably not have picked quite such a dark wind light, but oh well. But there you can see a nice difference in the wood. Oh, there's a shed as well. So here you have a nice little wooden shed, which again you can use as storage perhaps. Set it inside of a castle structure, have your food for your animals and so on in there. Let's try the tower as well. Ooh, that's a big tower. So you can see you can build up quite some structures here. And here of course you have some internal parts in that you have this stone interior, but there are no separate walls for the interior walls or interior floors. But there we go. Now it changed all over, and you can see the snow on all of the stones, giving us a nice wintry look. And then we can go over to mossy and we can see that. And we can go over to the clean again. It does seem to take a little bit of time. I don't know if it's that I'm having a slow day on the sim or something, but just give it some time then if you're trying to change the details. Now, I think these are all fairly large. Let me see if I can find the opening somewhere. But as you can see, I'm not tall, of course. I always have a fairly short avatar, but this is going to be fairly substantial. And if you're going to resize things like this, you are going to have to be careful when you're going to piece them together. Although that's not too bad actually, and you have a nice heraldic emblem over this opening as well. I would have liked to see some inner floors and perhaps some inner walls to add on. I'm not strictly sure how one will best do that. I have a couple of other building kits and it's the same, that it's much easier to build the external structures than it is to make a kit that actually works for building internal structures, because there are so many options there. But maybe a couple of different floor options would have been nice. I think something that I don't see nearly enough of when it comes to medieval buildings is floors that look like they have rushes laid on them. You know, they would take these fresh branches, thin branches, and use that as covering, and that would be fresh and smell fresh, and then you take it out when it was dirty. Difficult to simulate with the flat floor in SL, of course. But some kind of texture that gives that sense, or maybe like hay or something on the floor, a stone floor and a wooden floor, would have allowed for some internal rooms to be created with the existing pieces. However, you have a lot of different options with this. Like, I've just given you a tiny sneak peek at what's there. There's definitely so much more, and you know, it's only your creativity that limits what you can do with this set. So I think we're going to see some nice buildings showing up from this. I am certainly going to try and build something on our sim, and maybe I will revisit this with some nice photos once I've gotten that done. But until then, I'm going to take another little break from videos because the computer I'm going to have with me on vacation is not up for it. And then I'm going to be busy for a few weeks again. But maybe sometime in September I should be able to do some videos again. Until then.